welcome to our speaker for the evening, Nithya Shanti ji. For the past 2 weeks, Nithya Shanti ji has graciously offered his time to share his wisdom with us in the 3-part series, Love Dissolves Fear. Today, we have the last session, which will focus on transformation.
Thank you, Shelley. That's a loving, beautiful introduction as always. Wonderful to be here with everybody again and getting ready for another meaningful, good, wholesome use of our time. I just want to say that this topic is very meaningful to me. Love dissolves fear, because that has been my experience. It's not just a nice quip. Whether it was one of my first meditation courses where I really felt a tremendous change in my heart over a rather short period. It was just a 2-hour session where we were just continuously for 2 hours sending loving wishes, sending good wishes to everybody, and especially when I did it for my mother. And I realized it's very interesting. At one level we love our parents, and at another level we have a lot of judgment towards our parents. And so as a rather young man, 17 years old, I was carrying such a lot of judgment, such a lot of disappointment towards my mother. And the transformation I experienced in my heart in just those 2 hours, and the judgments towards her, the judgments towards myself, I really began to realize the power of love. There's that nice, the journey is from the love of power to the power of love. And so that was the beginning. And I also remember incidents when I lived in a forest. I lived with a forest monk. And of course we had a monastery which, it was like a tame forest. It was like, we had a few snakes and things, but it wasn't not a very scary forest. But for 3 months in the year, we'd go to the deep forest. And you actually had wild animals here. You actually had tigers were known to be here, wild elephants were known to be here. There were these very big troops of monkeys over here. And I'd seen a bear myself once. So when you're living in the real forest, then I realized that we can actually think ourselves into a frenzy of fear. Or we can harness that same mental capacity and redirect our energy into love and compassion. And that's where I really saw the power, that love actually does dissolve fear. But it takes work. It's not just going to happen by itself. Every moment, instead of focusing on fear, to focus on love. Like I'm sleeping at night in my it's like a little raised bamboo platform, and I'm sleeping there. And I can hear all kinds of sounds, and sometimes those sounds appear to be coming near. And it's completely dark. And then the mind starts playing games. What is this? What is this? What is this? And so in that moment, am I going to give in to the fear? Or am I going to replace that fear with whatever it is, I have loving wishes towards it. At one level, I'm so vulnerable. I'm just like alone in the forest. But at another level, I'm completely safe because I'm surrounded by the power of love. And this is something that we literally have to reorient our way of thinking and looking at life and looking at the world. So this was something so what I'm trying to say here is that for me, it's been really, really tangible. And so we've had 2 previous sessions. We talked about inspiration, we talked about practices. We'll continue that thread. This session will also have elements of inspiration and some practices. And we will also focus on transformation, stories of transformation, stories from some of you about your transformation. And no transformation is too small, right? The Buddha was asked about what is the real miracle. Is being able to fly a miracle? Is being able to make yourself invisible a miracle? Are all of these things miracle? And the Buddha actually said, no, that's not the real miracle. The real miracle is the transformation of the heart. How beautiful that is. So even if there's a small, tiny transformation of your heart in the last 2 weeks, at the right time in this session today, I'd like to ask you about it. I'd like to know about your transformation. And what you focus on expands. If you focus on transformation, you focus on, wow, things are happening, things are changing, isn't it amazing? If you focus on that, then your enthusiasm grows, your belief grows, and you take further steps along in this journey. If you focus on everything is the same, nothing is really happening, and then you remain in the same place. I'm remembering a story of this old lady who was, so there was a village, and there was a not old lady, but she was like a middle-aged woman, and she was quite sick, and she calls her son and says, "Son, you have to get me medicine. I'm really in a lot of discomfort." So son says, "Yes, mother, what can I do?" She says, "Go to the neighboring town. There's a doctor there, and explain my condition, and he will give you a medicine. I trust him. His medicines always work for me." Son says, "Mother, that's fine, but between our village and the town, there is a forest, and it takes at least 4 hours to walk through the forest to get to the town, and the forest is completely dark, and it's full of all kinds of wild and dangerous animals. So I'll go in the morning. Right now it's dark, I can't go." The mother says, "No, I don't even know if I'll survive till morning. You have to go now." So the son says, "But mother, every step is so dark. How can I possibly go for 4 hours all the way to the town?" So the mother gives him a lantern and says, "You're going to use this lantern, and you walk with the lantern." "But mother, this lantern is only illuminating the next 3 steps. It's such a long way." And the mother says, "As you start walking, the next 3 steps will become available to you. The next 3 steps will become visible to you. And the light that you're creating will keep away harmful and dangerous and wild animals. They will stay away from the light." So he doesn't really know if this is true, but he takes the lantern, and having faith in his mother, he starts walking. And sure enough, the next 3 steps, the next 3 steps, the next 3 steps become visible. And that's what it's like in our journey. We may not always have the answers all the way till the end of the journey, but we do know this step, and we do know the next 1 or 2 or 3 steps. And that is enough. So that's how I've seen this path works. We may not have all the answers to everything in the universe, everything about life, but we usually have enough for this step and the next 1 or 2 or 3 steps. And let us be content with that. We don't need to have simultaneous knowledge of everything, right? We start from where we are, and we practice what we already know. One really good question to ask yourself, and maybe you actually want to spend time on this question, is what do I know for sure? What do I know for sure? And if you think and start thinking about it, you'll find actually it's not that many things you know for sure. Right? If you're really honest, there are a few things you know for sure, and then let that be your foundation. Let me actually ask you, since we've asked this question, today we'll be using the chat menu for any comments, and we'll use the Q&A menu for section for any questions. So just let me ask some of you, can you in your own way answer, what do you know for sure? Take a moment, tune in and see, what do I know for sure? And then if you like, type out the answer. And you can make sure the answer is sent to all panelists and attendees, then everybody can read your answer. What do you know for sure? Shrishti, I am here, alive and breathing. Fantastic. Lakshmi, I know for sure that I will die. You're right. Anu says death is for sure. Rohini says that I breathe. Sujal, that I'm going to die at some point. That's a very powerful thing to know for sure. Shelly, love exists. Gaurav, God exists. Arvind, ditto. I'm not sure which one it was ditto for. Arvind. And Meeta says, I'm breathing in the present moment. Yes. Vaibhav, sincere prayers are answered today or tomorrow. Beautiful. Adhira says that death is the only reality. Divya says, I know for sure that all I have is this moment. So powerful. What a powerful recognition. That all I really have is this moment. Vishal, that I exist. In fact, Vishal, this is the meaning of Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is truth. And what is truth? The basic truth of existence. Everything else can be debated. But the fact that I exist, I am, this is beyond argument. I don't need scientific proof for this. I am. And even to say that I'm not, would also require someone to say I'm not, right? So Sat Chit Ananda, the basic truth, I am. And Chit means to be aware of I am. Not I am this or I am that. I am tall or I am short. I am good or I am bad. I am. Sat Chit. And when you are aware of this truth that I am, Ananda, bliss, I am. So what are the highest teaching? I am that I am. Sat Chit Ananda. So beautiful. And Nirali says, who I love and who loves me. That's what you know for sure. Beautiful. So just read some of the comments. Many of you are responding to all panelists, which means only I and a few others can see your comments. So when you're responding, see if you can change the menu option to all panelists and attendees, then we can all see your beautiful answers. Lovely. So that's great. It's fun to have an interactive session like this with all of you. So once in a while I'll ask you questions. Okay, today I want to do a different practice with you, which is something I learned from a wonderful monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. And this is actually the practice I teach children. But at some level we're all children, and sometimes the simplest practices are the best practices, right? Let me just get this going. So hopefully you're able to see my presentation on the screen. And today's practice is going to be a practice called Pebble meditation. I learned this practice from Thich Nhat Hanh. Sit comfortably. Hands can be in any comfortable position. I'd like you to gently close your eyes, or at least keep them half closed. And I'd like you to bring your attention to your breath. Feel the in-breath. Feel the out-breath. Enjoy the in-breath. Enjoy the out-breath. And for this practice, breath will be our anchor, breath will be our support, breath will be our lifeline. And I'm going to say a few statements which I'd like you to either repeat in your heart, or you could even repeat aloud if you're in a place where it's okay to say things aloud. It's also nice to say it aloud. So either say with me or repeat in your heart. Breathing in, I see myself as a beautiful flower. Breathing out, I feel so fresh. So as you're breathing in, I'd like you to visualize a really beautiful flower, any kind of flower that you like. You love the color, you love the shape, you love the fragrance of this flower. Breathing in, think of this beautiful flower. Breathing out, you feel fresh. And breath by breath, breathing in, think of this beautiful flower. Reconnects you to nature right away. And one of the features of flowers, pretty much every flower, makes you feel fresh. So feel that freshness. Breathing in the beauty of this flower and breathing out freshness. Breathing in, you see yourself as a flower. You've become this flower. You've become this flower. Breathing out, you feel so fresh. What's it like to be this flower? Every cell is like a flower. Every cell is feeling fresh. You can adjust the depth of your breath to really enjoy this, really feel this. And let's do another one. Breathing in, I see myself as a huge mountain, a majestic mountain. Breathing out, I feel so strong. So as you breathe in, imagine a beautiful, majestic mountain, large mountain. And breathing out, you feel the strength of this mountain. So breath by breath, visualizing, seeing this mountain and feeling the strength. Unshakable. Unshakable. And as you breathe in, you become this mountain. And as you breathe out, you are the strength. You are this unshakable strength. And as you breathe in, every cell is like a part of this mountain. And as you breathe out, every cell is supremely strong. Let's do another one. Breathing in, I see myself as a still, calm lake. Breathing out, I reflect everything perfectly. So as you breathe in, you see yourself as absolutely still, absolutely calm lake. And as you breathe out, everything is getting reflected clearly now. All the surroundings, all the trees, the sky, the moon, getting reflected perfectly in this mirror-like lake. You see, when you are still like the lake, everything in life is very clear. So right now, breathing in the stillness, even if for 1 second, you can become the still lake, your whole life will be reflected clearly. Breathing in a still, calm lake. Breathing out clarity and reflecting everything perfectly. Every cell is like a part of this lake. Every cell is mirror-like in its ability to reflect everything that's happening. Let's do one more. Breathing in, I see myself as vast open space. Breathing out, I feel completely free. So as you breathe in, vast open space, endless open space. And as you breathe out, completely free, not pulled in any direction. Space cannot be pulled in any direction. Space just is. Nothing is pulling you anymore. When you become space, then nothing can pull you anymore, left or right, above or below. So you're free. So breathing in the space-like quality, vast open space. What's it like even for a second to become space? And in that moment, you have complete freedom. Every cell is like vast open space. Every cell is completely free. Freedom within itself. We will do one more. This time you will come up with something. Breathing in, something will come to your mind. Breathing out, something will come to your mind. And be willing to surprise yourself. See what comes. So go ahead. Breathing in, really see that. Become that. Breathing out, really feel that. Tune into that. Every cell has become that. Every cell is feeling that. And just have a moment of gratitude to yourself, to this practice, to this beautiful moment of life. Remembering that what you focus on expands. What you think about and thank about, you bring about. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. When you change your way of looking at things, the things you look at also change. Let's all take a deep, deep breath. And release. I'd like you to rub your palms together. Make them nice and warm. Bring them over your eyes. Over your face. How wonderful. How wonderful. Very nice. So in this practice, Breathing in, I see myself as a beautiful flower. Breathing out, I feel so fresh. Breathing in, I think we did the mountain first. Breathing in, I see myself as a majestic mountain. Breathing out, I feel so strong. Breathing in, I see myself as a still, calm lake. Breathing out, I reflect everything perfectly. Breathing in, I see myself as vast open space. And breathing out, I'm so free. And one more you came up with. If you feel like, you can share in the comments. What is the one that you came up with? It'll be interesting to hear from some of you. Breathing in, soft, luminescent golden light. Breathing out, feeling of energetic lightness. So beautiful, Arvind. Breathing in the sun, breathing out warmth. Very nice. Kavita, freeing myself. Breathing in, I feel I am the sun. Breathing out, I shine and glow with infinite radiance. That's lovely, Vipul. Shrishti says, breathing in, a powerful fire. Breathing out, cleansing. That's amazing. Vaibhav, breathing in, I'm Radha. Breathing out, I feel love. That's lovely. Harsha, breathing in, thought of floating in space. Great. Alicia, breathing in, I'm a tree. Breathing out, I am growth. Ah, love it. Anu, breathing in, I'm the sun. Breathing out, radiance. Lalita, breathing in, I feel like the sun. So sun is very popular here. Notice. Even for me, sun also came up. Breathing in, I'm the sun. Breathing out, loving everyone. Breathing out, I feel like a bright light. And Tina says, breathing in, I see myself as sky. Breathing out, stability. And Vidya says, breathing in, I feel like the Buddha is in the air. Breathing out, I feel complete peace. Oh, that's so lovely. Buddha is in the air. So you're getting a sense of this? Everyone, just read the comments. And again, I invite you to, if possible, address your comments not just to all panelists, but to all panelists and attendees. Because you're writing beautiful things. It'll be lovely so that everybody can read it. Great fun. All right, so what you focus on expands. And the reason this practice is called Pebble meditation is you teach this to children and then you give them a pebble. And you make them draw on the pebble what they saw in their meditations. They can draw a flower, they can draw a mountain, they can draw a sun, whatever they saw in their meditation, they draw on that. And then they keep these pebbles, whatever 3, 4, 5, 6 pebbles with them. And so, for example, whenever they're feeling tired, they'll pick up the pebble with a flower and they'll hold it near their heart and they'll take a few breaths. Ah, feeling so fresh. And whenever they're feeling very weak and people are criticizing them a lot and the teacher is saying you're no good, you pick up the mountain, you bring it to your heart and you breathe in. Ah, I'm so strong. You see how beautiful this is? And the kids learn how to use the power of their mind in a very wholesome and healthy way. And at some level, we're all kids, we can all benefit from this. So what a lovely practice. Pebble meditation. Comes from Thich Nhat Hanh. Samir says, breathing in, I am the ocean. Breathing out, I am the happy waves. So beautiful, Samir. Right? And I'm sure you got at least a glimpse of that, at least a taste of that. See how powerful our mind is. What we focus on expands. I feel like spending a few minutes, maybe just 3 minutes, on a quick review of what you remember from the last 2 sessions, what you've practiced from the last 2 sessions, what you found useful from the last 2 sessions. Even if you remember one or two things, that's fine. So go ahead again in the comments. And if you can address the comments to all panelists and attendees, then everybody can read your comments. That'll be nice. So what are some of the things that Bradley says he remembers the power of pause. That's really important. Between stimulus and response is a gap. That's the pause. That's where life, that's where the wisdom is. Shrishti says she remembers, I am the sky, everything else is weather. And Vaibhav says, focusing on intention and attention reveals our foundation. Fantastic. And Dr. Bharadwaj says, I give you my life. Please take over. That was a very powerful one, right? Surrender. Vipul, the 4 Brahma Viharas, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita and Upeksha, infinite. Loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity of mind. Adhira says, old lady picking up the glass pieces from the sea, that was a nice story. And Kavita says the cancel practice. So whenever you have a self-defeating thought, you say cancel. Don't want to believe that. It's a low-quality thought. Tina, I give you my life. It stayed with me. That's really powerful. In fact, that was for me very, very deep as well. And Gaurav, deep love, deep silence. And there was one more, deep listening, deep love, and deep silence. Shelley, the Mayurma and the zap, zapping people with love. And Meeta says, I wish you happiness. Yeah, the simple thought, I wish you happiness. Mayurma. Mayurma is the symbol of infinite love. It goes something like this. You make a nice heart in the air and you multiply it by infinity 3 times. And then you say, Mayurma. See if you can try that with me. Take your hands up and draw a nice heart in the air. Put one palm on top of the other and draw an infinity symbol. Multiply it by infinity again, and a 3rd time again, and Mayurma. So beautiful. When thoughts, words and actions come together, it's immensely powerful, and that's what Mayurma does. And Sugandha, like the Brahma Viharas, and Puneet says, go to a place in nature and invoke the highest you believe in and give your life to be led to where you need to go. That's exactly right. I give you my life. Zapping strangers. David says, zapping strangers with a wish that they have a fantastic day. Yeah. The cat and the rat story, I think you're talking about, Kavita. That was a good story. 60,000 rats. Rats represent our thoughts, and the cat represents awareness. And we want to feed the cat and not just the rats. If you're always feeding the rats, your life is overrun with thoughts. You want to touch a dimension above thought, which is just that which knows. Metacognition, the ability to be aware of our own thinking process. So it's great. Please read the comments of your friends and your fellow attendees. Whatever is happening in life is prasad. You know, it's reminding me of a story. Years back, someone was taking me for a session in Mumbai, and he said, Nithya, do you mind if I stop the car? I said, what happened? He said, my family temple is here, and whenever I go by, if possible, I stop. I said, let's stop, we have time, let's stop. So he stopped the car, and before we got out of the car, he said something very powerful. He said, Nithya, I've come here for 30 years, and never once have I asked for anything. I said, really? What do you do in the temple? So I just go and say thank you. I said, let's do it. So we got out of the car, we went in the temple, and to each of the deities, we just said thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I found that so beautiful. Instead of asking what can I get, just saying thank you. And in Indian temples, I think temples everywhere, you get some prasad at the end. You take the prasad, you put it on the head, and you eat it. And everyone is so grateful. No one complains about, oh, this has got too much sugar, oh, this has got too much oil, oh, this is this is that, oh, you gave him more than me. You just accept it as prasad. That's a very powerful attitude, to see all of life as prasad. And stop comparing, stop judging, why is it like this, why is it not like this? Intellectual honesty is this, that if you're going to say, why me, for the unpleasant things that happen to you, the unwanted things that happen to you, then please also say, why me, for the pleasant and the good things that happen to you. Then say, why me for everything? What's the name of that famous tennis player? I don't remember his name. So he was the first African American, some of you will remember his name, African American tennis player to win Wimbledon. And later, through blood transfusion, he contracted HIV, which later on became AIDS. And he was getting interviewed, and does someone remember his name? Yeah, Arthur Ashe, that's right, thanks David, Arthur Ashe. So Arthur Ashe was interviewed and was asked that, sir, at one time you were like one of the fittest people in the world. I mean, to win Wimbledon is no small thing. You had to be one of the fittest people in the world. And today you have AIDS. So do you sometimes complain to God about this? And you know, AIDS also by blood transfusion. It was not even like it was some medical procedure. Those days they were not testing blood for AIDS as well as they are today. So he said, when I was holding up that, he said like 10,000 people want to play Wimbledon, of which a few hundred get a chance to play, of which very few qualify, and of which I won. And when I was holding up my trophy, I didn't look up to the sky and say, why me? Why me? Why me of all these people? So out of all the people who get a blood transfusion, some of them get AIDS, get HIV. So again, I do not look up and say, why me? So if you have to be honest, then say, why me for, if you're going to say why me, then say why me for everything. Don't just say why me for that one little thing. And I found that such a powerful example, such a powerful story. Beautiful. So this is one of my favorite videos, and also a really inspiring person, Nick Vujicic. And I've seen this video many, many times. I've shown it to many, many people. And I always remember his 3 lessons at the end. I don't know if you paid attention. There were 3 lessons he mentioned at the end. To be thankful, to dream big, and to never give up. So I try to keep these in mind in my life as well. I choose to be thankful. I choose to dream big. To dream big is not just dream big for yourself, but to dream big for everybody, to dream big for the world. How big can you dream? And then the dream is so big, it's so huge, never, never, never give up. The biggest dream is to be fully self-actualized and to be fully self-realized and support everyone in their self-actualization. What is self-actualization? In your incarnation, how can you use your strengths and talents for the benefit of all? What is self-realization? To realize who you really are, to understand who you really are. So it's like you're playing this game of life, and can I play this game of life with all my gusto, all my energy, all my enthusiasm, all my good wishes? Can I just fully be involved, give it my best, at the same time realizing it's just a game, it's just a game, it's just a game. So don't take it so seriously. Do your best and leave the rest, right? So to be in it, but not to be off it. Very powerful. So self-actualization, self-realization. This is what it means to dream big. And of course, you're going to fall short again and again and again. So never give up, never give up, never give up. I choose to be thankful, I choose to dream big, and I never, never, never give up. These are 3 important lessons I learned from Nick Vujicic. And another great example of Nick Vujicic, which is now a feature of all my sessions, is to live a complaint-free life. Right? We all think we can complain, we have the right to complain. But then you put yourself in Nick's shoes and say, he doesn't even have shoes. You put yourself in Nick's position, he doesn't have hands, he doesn't have legs. And he is doing all the fun things in life. He goes paragliding and he does art, and he managed to propose to his fiance, his girlfriend there, now she's his wife, I think. And he did that without hands and legs. He managed to slip a ring into her finger through his mouth. he found a solution to all of that. He cooks his own food. He combs his own hair. How can someone do all of that without hands and legs? So it's fascinating. He's overcome so many challenges. How did he do it? By being thankful, by dreaming big, and by never, never, never giving up. So never complain about your life, because someone somewhere dreams of a life just like yours. Any other lessons we learned from Nick Vujicic? If you want to put down a comment, it'll be nice. And let's see what people are saying. Yeah, so how does he comb his hair? Arvind, so the way he combs his hair is he keeps his hairbrush tied to a certain spot, and then he goes and he moves his head around the hairbrush. That's how he combs his hair. So some of the stories here, some of the things is the joy of being in love with life. Everyone has talents, gifts and abilities. Gratitude, love of life. Importance of inner strength and conviction. Do not underestimate others because of their looks. Yeah, in fact, he says, don't call me handicapped. I'm not handicapped. The only handicap is between our ears. I think you got it, right? The only handicap is in your thinking. When you think you can't, you cannot. When you think you can, you will find a way to make it happen. Kavita says, everything is possible if you can dream. There are lots of videos by Nick. If you go to YouTube and just search Nick Vujicic, so many inspiring videos, and just kind of totally tell you what are we complaining about? Come on. If this guy can be so happy and so fulfilled with no hands and legs, I mean, come on. There's nothing to, what's that story? What's that little thing? I had the blues. Yeah, I had the blues because I had no shoes. I had the blues because I had no shoes until upon the street I met a man who had no feet. So recognize just wherever you are in life, you are there, and there's a beautiful purpose, there's a beautiful possibility. So much to learn from Nick. His last name is Vujicic, Vucic, I think. Vui, Vujicic, I think it's like that, Vujicic. Great. So I'd like to ask some of you to share. Yeah, that's VUJ, that's right, I missed a J there. VUJIC. I want to invite some of you to share your some examples of, in the last 2 sessions and even today's session, what are some of the transformations you're experiencing in yourself? Have you seen any change in yourself? Have you applied some practices? Has it led to a shift of some kind? Has love actually dissolved the fear? Did you try the Brahma Vihara practice we learned last time? Did you try any other practice we learned last time? We learned lots of simple things, like for example saying how wonderful, no matter what happens, right? So let's get some examples from some of you on the transformation or the shift or the beginning of transformation that you've experienced, and see that, make sure that you address it to all panelists and attendees, and we can all read your read the transformation you've had. So if you can just type out. Kavita says, I'm practicing avoiding self-talk. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can completely avoid self-talk, but certainly to become aware of our self-talk, and especially in the way that pulls us down. So I think that's very true. Yeah. And Neha says, deep listening. But if someone is speaking very loud, I get a headache. Not sure if it's transformation. That's true. So you should take care of yourself as well. So, you're going to learn, you're going to get better at each of these things. You're going to get better. Like, for example, when someone is speaking incessantly, then I've learned to actually interrupt them and say, can I just summarize what I've learned so far? Nobody minds being interrupted if you tell them, I just want to make sure I've understood what you said so far. And then that breaks that chain of thought. So you'll get better at working with these things as you practice. Shubhra, I have zapped some people and cancelled sometimes. So zapping with love, send them a loving wish. And cancel. That's great. That's something you learned and practiced. And pausing and cancel is something that you've been practicing. Can't get your name. It's Billups, S. Billups. All right. Pausing and cancel. And Samir says the Brahma Vihara meditation isn't very powerful. I think you mean is very powerful. I'm not sure what you mean. I think you're saying is very powerful. And Darcy says, stay focused on goals while others are losing their way. Stay focused on goals while others are losing their way. That's a good one, Darcy. Divya, loving kindness around annoying people. That's a big one if you can do that. Even for a few moments you can do that. I've noticed, somebody says it is very powerful. That's right. So, even for there's a situation where there's misunderstanding happening. There's a situation, like in a family this happens, misunderstanding, there's conflict happening. And even for a few seconds, if you can come to a place of, you know what, I'm going to get out of my ego, I'm going to get out of my self-righteousness, I just wish happiness for everybody here. I just love all of these people. What the hell are we fighting about? I love everybody here. Strong good wishes. Even for a moment you touch that, transformation begins. I've seen this again and again and again. So really, it doesn't have to be this pure, all-encompassing, endless love. It could be a moment of love, and that starts the process of transformation. Cuts through all the baggage that we are all carrying. And Sushil says, I found the miracle of love guided meditation of the 4 Brahma Viharas. Both of them are very transformative. That's beautiful. You know what? We can learn the miracle of love before we end today. The 5-minute miracle of love. Lalita says, I'm kinder to myself. There is more self-love and consequently a lot more love for others. That's beautiful, Lalita. Sushil says, the miracle of love guided meditation, also the 4 Brahma Viharas. Both were transformative. Yes. Bradley, been trying to live life at the speed of life rather than the speed of thoughts. You got it. Meeta says, I wish you happiness. Has changed the energy of situations. It's magical and it's easy. Parvati says, doing the Mayurma makes me very happy. That's lovely. Shweta says, I started listening to others. Yes. So I hope you can read some of the comments. So many beautiful comments here about what people have shared. Shrishti says, practicing the power of pause. Even when I'm engrossed in something, there's a lot of mental chatter happening. I just consciously pause. Right now we can pause. And clarity returns. simplicity returns, right? It shifts the energy every time you do that. Beautiful. Tina says it was Brahma Viharas, and I tried Mayurma. Sorry, the Maitri, the Manga. Yeah, you're talking about Maitri Brahma Vihara. Yes, compassion and wishing well to people. I could not get the fourth one. The fourth one is equanimity, not getting influenced by the ups and downs of life. It's like breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel so strong. So maybe imagine yourself as that mountain as you breathe in, and you'll get a taste of the fourth one, that I just am, not shaken by the ups and downs of life. And she practiced it with her husband. If you can practice it with your husband, then the transformation has begun. And lovely comment here, not only new day, new start, but every second is a new beginning. I love it. And Darcy, you've learned the biggest lesson of all. You don't try to fix people. In fact, that's my favorite definition. You're talking about love today. My favorite definition of love is the Greek word agape. And agape translates as to let be. When you love, you let them be. The sun loves the earth by letting it be, and the magic is happening on the earth. I remember some years back, I'd gone to Auroville, and I wanted to go to a place called Sadhana Forest. Some of you have been to Auroville, so you know. And there was a little shuttle bus that would take us from Auroville to... Sadhana Forest is also part of Auroville, but it's a little bit on the side. So a shuttle bus came to get us. And there was a girl who looked like she was 12 or 13. But the way she asked us to line up and get into the bus and sit here and sit there, I said, oh, what? This person has got such authority, this person has got such clarity. And it looked like there's some strange disease where a grown-up is looking like a little child. So what is this? How can this person exude such authority, such clarity? And this child had been, there is homeschooling and then there is unschooling. So unschooling is when you completely trust that you give the child lots of interesting experiences and get them to reflect on their life, and the child is going to grow into a very complete human being. You don't have to put them through 8-10 hours of schooling all the time. So it takes a lot of courage for a parent to believe in this. So she and her siblings and other kids in this community have been unschooled. And, so many people come to this community that they're actually, perhaps they know more about you and more about life than you and I do, because they have all these interesting experiences. So for me, that was an example of agape. Because when these kids were growing up, a lot of people criticized their parents and say, what are you doing? Your kids are playing in the mud. They have no structure to their day. And, you're not being good parents. You're not being responsible parents. And yet these parents did not lose faith to let be. It takes a different level of trust. And I was blown away by the maturity. And also it's not that she was so mature all the time. When we went to the community, she climbed up, there's a big bamboo hall that they have. And she was climbing up the hall and she was playing just like a kid. So I just found that fascinating, the trust to just let be. You let it be and the miracles start to happen. That's my favorite definition of love, to let be. Agape is Greek, that's right, Darcy. Agape is Greek. All right, do I have anything else? I would like to share the 5-minute miracle of love, and we'll do this practice, and after that I'm happy to take any questions that you have. So let's sit comfortably and close your eyes if you like. Just pause for a moment, come back to yourself, feel this moment. The 5-minute miracle of love is a practice we can apply to any situation that's challenging us in our life. We can transform that situation from anxiety and fear into love, into miracles. So I'd like you to take one situation. It could be your health, it could be a relationship, could be anything, but just for now keep it simple. Maybe just choose one of these two to begin with, maybe. Choose your health or choose a relationship. And now I'd like you to see yourself looking in the mirror, and you're looking really healthy, really happy. You have a glow on your face. and you're surrounded by a soft pink light which represents pure love. You feel the purity that surrounds you and you breathe it in. And now you will think of the BPO, which means the best possible outcome. So for the next 2 or 3 minutes, I want you to think of this relationship or of your own health. What's the best thing that can happen? So go ahead, start thinking. The best thing in this relationship. What does it look like? What does it feel like? The best thing for your health. What does it look like, feel like? Start thinking of this, focusing on this. And whatever you're seeing, whatever you're thinking, surrounded with soft pink light, which represents pure love and the power of love. So focusing on this relationship or your health, surrounding with soft pink light. Notice what images are coming, feelings are coming. Best possible outcome in this situation. Best possible outcome in this situation, surrounded with love and light. Keep going. Think of the same situation, surrounded with soft pink light. Make it even more bright and beautiful. Best possible outcome in this aspect, dimension of your life. And now release the visualization, the imagination, and just focus on this light. Breathe in this soft pink light. It fills you up. Every cell of your body is getting filled up with soft pink light, which is the intelligence and the power of love. And now feel as though whatever you visualize has already happened, whatever you thought about has already happened. And wouldn't you be so amazed, wouldn't you be so relieved if this relationship or your health dramatically improved in this way? Would you be so glad? So breathe it in. And feel it, feel it, feel it. Make it even stronger. Feel it down to your bones. It's already happened. It's already happened. Make it even stronger. That conviction, it's already so. It's already happened. I just thought of it, it's already happened. It's incredible. Make it even stronger. And your whole being is vibrating at a higher frequency, the frequency of pure love. Take a deep breath. And from this moment onwards, for the rest of your day, the rest of your time, whenever you think of this situation, whenever you think of your health or this relationship, you are fully confident the power of love is taking care of this, the power of love is taking care of this. And you smile, a beautiful smile. And slowly open your eyes. Beautiful. So we've learned a beautiful practice called the 5-minute miracle of love. If for 5 minutes we focused on the best possible outcome. I think I have a little slide on this as well. Let me see if I can show that to you. Five-minute miracle. Here we are. So you take a few deep breaths and you relax. And you think of the best possible outcome and surround it with love and light. Could be any colored light. Pink light represents love. Could be any colored light. And you think of it in a way that's uplifting, inspiring. Like you think of your health. Maybe you're eating healthy, you're energetic, you're exercising, you're out in nature, you're enjoying yourself. Or the relationship, you're both smiling, you're both laughing, you're both doing something you enjoy. You think of the BPO, the best possible outcome. And then you feel the joy like it's already happened, it's a done deal, right? You trust like it's already happened. How would that feel? And you get your whole, this is very important, you think it till you feel it. And then you let go and you trust that this or something better will happen for the highest benefit of all. The power of love is taking care of this, so you let it go. And you can repeat this practice for about 5 minutes. And if you do it for 3 weeks, then you start seeing very amazing things start to happen. A real shift starts to happen in your life experience. And you can end by saying, this or something better happens in a joyful and harmonious way, under divine timing, for the highest benefit of all, and so it is. And during the day, whenever you think of this issue, you can say, the power of love is taking care of this. I don't have to overthink this, I don't have to worry about it. The power of love is taking care of this. It's all going to be fine. So we just learned a beautiful practice called the miracle of love, the 5-minute miracle of love. And you can find this, I'm pretty sure I have a video on this on YouTube and also on SoundCloud. There's an audio on SoundCloud. All right, we have come to our Q&A time. So if you want to write down any questions, put them in the Q&A section. Any comments, you put them in the chat section. And I'm going to request Shelley to help me with this, to help me go through some of the questions. And I'll do my best to look at some of the comments as well. Well, if it's affecting your mental peace, then it's become a compulsion, isn't it? Are you so focused on having a perfectly clean home? This becomes more like a hotel then. Is it really a home or is it a hotel? If everyone's always uptight that, oh, if I leave something in the wrong place, what's going to happen? If I forget something, what's going to happen? Then it's less of a home and more like a hotel. Yeah, it's nice to be clean, but to get obsessed with it, we're going maybe a bit too far, isn't it? So I would say the real cleanliness has to be of the heart. And then let it manifest into your world. Certainly we should do our best to keep things clean. But don't get obsessive. If you're getting obsessive, it's more driven by fear. It's more driven by a certain image. It's more driven by a certain tight expectation. It has to be like this. Unless it's like this, I can't be okay. So this kind of very strong holding on to gets us in trouble. And like in today's world, I was actually concerned that with this coronavirus, some people are going to become OCD, washing their hands all the time. Yeah, it's good to wash your hands, but constantly washing your hands all the time, getting obsessed like that is not very healthy. Use the power of your mind to believe that I'm safe, I'm healthy, I'm immune, I've got a very strong immunity. As you know, with coronavirus, the majority of people have very few symptoms. It comes and it goes and they develop immunity. So if you believe in that, then you don't have to get so obsessive. Certainly wash your hands, certainly take precautions, but don't get obsessive about it, right? And like I said, the real cleanliness is of the heart. What is that nice saying? A house is built of bricks and stone. A home is built of love alone. So it's the love that truly creates a home, and the home is where the heart is. And the heart is not so obsessive. The heart is in a state of accommodation, in a state of welcoming. So yes, we keep it clean, but we don't get obsessed about keeping it clean. Yeah. There's a story of this a lady who requests her husband, can you go and get me some bread? He says, sure, I'll get you bread. So he goes down. He's back very quickly and looking very upset. She says, what happened? And where's the bread? He says, forget the bread. On the way down to the shop, this man began abusing me. He began saying such mean things to me, rude things to me. I was so upset, I just came back. And the wife says, describe the man to me. And he describes the man. And the wife starts laughing loudly. So why are you laughing? He abused me. He was so rude to me. How can you laugh about this matter? She says, husband, you never help me. I always ask you to help me. You never help me. Near that shop is a crazy man. That crazy man shouts at everybody. That crazy man abuses everybody. And everyone smiles, they bless him. He's mentally unstable. They smile, they bless him, and they go and do their shopping. Oh, you mean he's insane? You mean he's mad? You mean he doesn't have clarity? Yeah, he's a mentally unstable person. Oh, poor fellow. So I'll get you bread. So he goes down. Again, that man comes, says exactly the same things, but this time the man is very happy. The husband is very calm, and he blesses him. Be happy, be happy. Goes inside, buys the bread, and comes back home. So I love this story because the same action happened both times. There was abusing, there was shouting, there was screaming. But the first time, the person took it personally, and they were very disturbed by it. The second time, they saw, oh, this person is, insane. So, in fact, in the US, they have, when they say angry, they say mad. They say, I'm mad at you, or why are you mad at me? It's actually a very good term, because the psychology, the mental state you're in, is actually a good phrase of it would be temporary insanity. When you're shouting, screaming like that, it's like a primitive part of your brain has overtaken your neocortex. So you are actually temporarily insane. It's actually, they have a word for it, phrase for it, the amygdala hijack. So you're behaving in a very crazy way. It's like a survival mode you've gotten into. So someone who's shouting, screaming in that way, you have to realize this is not a normal person. This is an insane person, temporarily insane person. I mean, how do you respond to a temporarily insane person? Please don't get insane yourself as well. My teacher used to say, if someone is coming to you with fire, they're coming to burn you with fire, what are you going to do? Are you going to also throw fire at them? Are you going to throw petrol at them? In America, you say gasoline. Are you going to throw gasoline at them? What's going to happen? Both of you are going to burn. You burn, I burn, we both burn. That's really silly. When someone's coming with fire, we throw cool water on them. So this is what we have to learn to do. But please be, if it's a very abusive environment, if it's happening in a sustained way, then you should learn to have enough self-respect to find a way to come out of that. It is not good to be in an emotionally abusive environment like that, and you have to take steps to say, no, this is not suitable, this is not right, because you cannot. In a way, we teach people how to treat us. So you develop your strength and your ability to deal with that situation. Take help from your friends if required. But generally, if someone is doing that, don't get so upset and obsessed about it. You have, in the Buddha's time, there's a story of this man who came and abused him and spat at him. Because this man thought the Buddha is giving all these wrong teachings and misleading everybody. At night time, this man couldn't sleep because while he was upset with the Buddha, he said, I don't agree with him, but I shouldn't have spat on him. I went a bit too far. So next year, the man goes to the Buddha to apologize. I'm sorry, I still don't agree with you, but I shouldn't have spat at you. That went a bit too far. So please forgive me. And the Buddha says, there's nothing to forgive. What do you mean there's nothing to forgive? Don't you remember? In front of everybody, I abused you, I accused you, I spat on you. The Buddha says, but that man is not here now. And those words are not here now. And that spit is not here now. So in other words, in that moment, it was done. The Buddha was not carrying a repercussion. Oh, he said this. Look what other people are thinking. So in the moment, what a wonderful wisdom for it to arise and pass away in that moment. Those words arose and passed away in that moment. Someone brought you a gift. You don't like the gift. Don't receive the gift. Someone brought you a courier. You don't like the courier. The man has to take it back. So at some level, we are also playing a part. We are taking it in. And this is, I know it's difficult, but this is the main skill we are here to learn. Don't take in stuff that is not helpful. My business, your business, God's business. What other people think, say, and do is their business. How the world operates, God's business or truth's business, whatever you want to call it. And my thoughts, words, and actions are my business. So you stay in your own beautiful bubble, and you have wholesome thoughts, wholesome words, wholesome actions. Nobody can touch you, nothing can happen. You're going to be just fine. You're going to be like a lotus on a mud pond. No mud, no lotus. Your lotus will blossom from this mud. And we can all grow in this, right? It's not beyond us. We all have this capacity. Go ahead, Shelley. Yeah, so again, I would say, if you're finding you're getting annoyed, that's a great time to say time out. This is important. But right now, I can see I'm emotionally activated. And when I'm emotionally activated, everything I say and do is actually going to backfire, because you're not using your neocortex. You're working from a primitive response. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start comparing this person, remembering old incidents. So this is the heart of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is knowing when you're activated and knowing when you're not. And when you are activated, time out. Yes, this is important. Come back to your breath. Come back to your experience. Take a little time out. Could be for a few minutes, could be for a few hours, could be for a few days. And come back when you're more balanced. I remember I was working with a company, and the CEO told me something very powerful. He told me that when he gets an email which gets him activated, he types a reply, he doesn't send it. He waits. He's learned to wait till the next day. He'll reread his reply. He says, I'm glad I didn't send that. And he's learned in his corporate career that when he is very quick to reply and respond, it often leads to trouble. So he's learned to write. Yeah, he's activated. He'll express it, but he'll not send it. And sometimes he'll send it to a friend and say, "Is this the best response?" And the friend will say, "You know what? I think you're going a bit overboard. Maybe tone it down a bit." This is very good. So between stimulus and response, the pause, the gap, and when you access that gap, that's where wisdom lives. So when you're agitated, become aware that you're agitated. That is not the time to get into confrontational. We can, if you really are able to take responsibility for your own thoughts and emotions. That right now I'm really agitated, right now I'm very activated. So, I'm taking responsibility for this. When you say this, when you do this, it affects me this way. And I request you to be like this. It's a skill to learn, but the main thing is that when you're activated like that, don't get into big, long, drawn-out conversations. Equilibrate yourself. Breathing can help. Brahma Viharas can help. Thinking of one of my friends says that when someone does something he doesn't like, he thinks of 10,000 reasons why it's okay for them to do that. 10,000 reasons. No one can think of 10,000 reasons, but even if you think of 1 or 2 or 3, you will immediately start calming down. Why? Because anger is defined as self-righteousness, which means I'm right and you're wrong. It's like you have a court, there's a judge. Your lawyer speaks fully, makes a full presentation of all the other person has done wrong. The other lawyer is on mute, not allowed to say a single word. And then, of course, the judge says, yeah, this person is guilty as charged. The judge is your conscience. Guilty as charged. You're allowed to be upset with him. You're allowed to get angry at him. You're allowed to punish this person. But if you allow yourself, what could be the reason this person did this? If I put myself in that person's shoe, can you think of 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 reasons? You can think of even a few of those reasons. It'll equilibrate your mind. You'll not be able to be that annoyed anymore. In fact, one of my teachers would say, if you really knew the full story, it would be impossible for you to judge anybody in this world. But because we don't know the full story, we are very quick to judge. Go ahead, Shelly. I would say in the beginning, I actually invite people to try a few different meditations, and after a while settle down with one main practice. And then once in a while you want to branch out from that, that's fine. But have one main practice you come back to again and again and again. Because if you're always playing around, then you get very confused. You don't know what you're doing anymore. But also very quickly, if you establish a main practice, then sometimes you start doubting, is this the best practice? I'm not sure. Am I doing the right thing? So I like to say, first have a wide base and then come to the apex. So try a few different things first. Maybe try a mantra meditation, maybe try walking meditation. I actually have a meditation course where I'm sharing various meditations with people. It's called Rise in Peace. And on my SoundCloud channel, you'll find hundreds of guided meditations. So try a few different ones and then settle down into a practice that you find to be your main practice. Keep coming back to that, something that you resonate with, have affinity for, feel a strong connection to. Come back to a main practice, and then you can always explore a few peripheral practices now and again. That would be my recommendation. Oh, beautiful. Where there's love, there's no judgment. Where there's judgment, there's no love. So there'll be an absence of judgment. Also, everything in life will seem more malleable. It's fascinating. Time becomes malleable. Situations become malleable. You know, the Buddha had a powerful teaching in one of the Tibetan scriptures. There's a teaching which says that if you want to be a Buddha, don't do too many practices. If you want to be a Buddha, don't do too many practices. Do one practice. Mahakaruna, great compassion, great compassion. The one who practices great compassion has all the Buddha's teachings in the palm of their hand. I find this teaching so powerful. The scripture is saying, don't get confused by 100,000 practices. Practice Mahakaruna. And actually, I would say Mahakaruna as an example. It could be great love, it could be great compassion, it could be great appreciation. All the 4 Brahma Viharas. Take up one practice, make it your life. Think of it, dream of it. Fill every cell and bone and nerve and sinew with it. Leave every other practice alone. Leave every other quality alone. This is a saying by Swami Vivekananda. And this is the way to greatness. So how do you know you're in the vibration of love? You go so deep in that vibration of love that everything starts to become malleable. There are no judgments anymore. You actually literally experience yourself in a different state of consciousness. It's like you've come into a different dimension. You know, steam, while it's still water, behaves in a very different way. Ice and water and steam, they all have their own qualities. In the same way, as we raise our consciousness to love, different things become possible. Healing becomes possible. Time becomes malleable. You know, like I could say, even though this is a 90-minute session, I can have an intention, time will expand. And you'll get benefits like it was a 1-day session, or it was a 2-day session, or it was a 10-day retreat. Or it could be a lifelong, life-transforming experience. Or if it's like I'm on a long journey, and it's like I'm flying to the US or some other place, very long journey, time will contract. And my experience becomes that long journey of whatever, 14, 20 hours, feels like it is maybe half an hour. So these fun things start to happen, and things get very malleable. Instead of feeling that I'm going through the world, you have a sense that the world is going through me. Instead of feeling caught up and imprisoned by the circumstances and events of my life, love is like that master key, where suddenly everything becomes possible, like the 5-minute miracle of love that we've learned today. Right? And there's a sense of gratitude. Like Nick was saying, I choose to be thankful, I choose to dream big, and I never, never, never give up. I'm remembering an incident. Dalai Lama was meeting this nun. This is an old lady. She had escaped from a prison in Tibet. The Chinese had occupied her monastery. They had imprisoned her. She had been in prison for like 30 plus years. And I forget if she escaped or she was released. And she comes to meet the Dalai Lama in Dharamshala. And Dalai Lama is so amazed and inspired by her journey of being in fact, there's a book, I should pull out the name of the book, I forget right now. But she wrote a book eventually. So he asked her, a sister, what was the greatest danger you faced? And she was quiet for a moment. She said, yes. There were a few times I almost lost compassion for my captors. So the greatest danger she faced was not being imprisoned or being tortured or being beaten or being abused or not being given great food. The greatest danger she faced, she said, was almost losing compassion for my captors. That for her was danger. It's a whole different way of thinking. So in the vibration of love, this is what you start realizing, that the most important thing, more important than life and limb, we can all come to this, is I don't want to lose the center of love and compassion. So while it may seem inaccessible, when we are totally caught up in the body consciousness and the mind consciousness, as you start accessing these beautiful qualities, then that becomes your foundation. So that's how you know you're in the vibration of love. When that is more important, that is something you want to preserve at any cost. You're reminding me of this teaching of Ramakrishna Paramahans, and he would say that in the beginning you see the ocean. No, I think in the beginning you hear the ocean. Then one day you see the ocean. Then one day you go and touch your toe in the ocean. Then you touch your ankles and you bathe your knees, and little by little you start swimming in the ocean. And one day you swim out into the ocean, and you dive into the ocean. And you find some pearls, and you come back. And you keep doing this. You hear the ocean, you see the ocean, you touch your toes, You swim in the ocean, bathe in the ocean, you swim out into the ocean, you dive deep into the ocean. And one day, you never come back. So look at these, the satsang we are having here. This is like an ocean. It's not because of me, it's just we are all collectively tapping into a certain field. A field of light, a field of potential, a field of love. We are all collectively, through our intention, we are tapping into it. We hear about it, we see it, we experience it, and little by little, we are diving deeper and deeper into this. So, what can you do to keep revisiting this ocean in your own way? There are countless amazing talks on YouTube by all kinds of amazing teachers. If you look around you, you will find people who are on a similar path, either exactly the same path or a similar path, which you also have affinity for. You can sit quietly, you can reflect on your life. I would say find ways that you can keep connecting to the ocean of this love, the ocean of this consciousness. When I was 16, I learned meditation for the first time. And I found it very, very difficult, very, very hard. I remember in the front row, there was a boy sitting he looked about my age. And I was very impressed. He was meditating so nicely. And at the end of the retreat, I got to talk to him. And I found him so inspiring. He was so humble, he was so down to earth. And he seemed so sweet. And I said to myself, this guy, he's about my age. He was actually a couple of years older than me. And he's able to practice so nicely. He's able to practice so well. I'm not going to give up. If he can do it, I can do it. And I made up my mind then and there. I said, I've tried many things, I've given it up. I tried I was trying tabla, I gave it up. I tried guitar, I gave it up. I tried painting, I gave it up. As kids, we have all these hobbies. So I tried this, I tried that, I gave it up. I tried stamp collecting, I gave it up. I'm not going to give this one up. I'm going to stick with this. I made a commitment to myself. I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick with this. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I'm going to stick with this no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult it is. And that has been the commitment. Like Nick Vujicic said, I never, never, never give up. So if you're experiencing something in this field, then keep coming back to this field. And so sessions like this are just one way to touch the field. You find your way of connecting to the field, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through serving others, whether it's through good company of friends, whether it's through reading inspiring books and stories, reflecting on your life. Find a way to keep coming back to this ocean, like Ramakrishna Paramahansa says. Dive deeper and deeper into this ocean, and a time will come when you will not come back, because now you are the ocean. The river loses its identity when it touches the ocean. So that's the journey we're all on, and I wish that for you as well. How wonderful. Yeah. Actually, when you are giving your wholehearted attention and energy to what you're doing, the thing that we get affected because we are not really fully there. Our mind, like for example, even in the session, a part of me keeps judging and saying, oh, I'm not using my time well, oh, I should have covered that, oh, I wanted to do that, I didn't do it. Then I'm getting affected. But when I'm fully here, 100%, I'm giving it my full attention. There's a nice phrase in Pali language, Sati Sampajanya. Sati Sampajanya. Sati means to be present. And Sampajanya is to have clear comprehension. So to be present, I've heard your question, I'm doing my best to answer it. And clear comprehension, there may be other questions. We have to be aware of time. We said we're going to go till 8 o'clock or whatever time it is in the US. We said we're going to go for 90 minutes. So also to have that clear comprehension, to give my full attention, and so to also have a broader sense of what's going on. What is this part of the context? So focusing on the content and the context, and most importantly on the state of consciousness. So when you're giving it your all like that, you start developing this capacity and you start achieving flow states. And in a flow state, there is no this or that, could be, would be, should be. That's when you start second guessing yourself. So again, this is not going to happen through an answer I give you. It's going to be through you immersing yourself again, whether it's a practice that you do, or whether it's a skill that you're learning, as you immerse yourself again and again and again. I'd love for you to listen to this TED Talk by Benjamin Zander. And Benjamin Zander plays a piano in different ways. How a 5-year-old child plays the piano. How 1 year later, 2 years later, how the same song, how it changes the way he's playing the piano. And he called it impulses. They are these impulses. And as you get better, those impulses become fewer and fewer and fewer until you can play that note in one breath. And how beautiful it becomes. So these impulses, these outward tendencies, which take us away from ourselves, take us away from the moment, take us into judgment and comparison and should be, would be, could be, those impulses start reducing. And life happens in one clean flow. And that's mastery. And we all have access to this, right? So I would say incline into whatever you're doing, decide beforehand, okay, this is what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give it my best, I do my best and I leave the rest. And we can always reflect and learn and say, how can I do it better? You know, that's called feed forward. What went well, how can we make it better next time? Instead of what went well and what was horrible. Then you always keep beating yourself up. Everything is perfect, everything can be joyfully improved. If you have that attitude, then chances are you will learn to do your best, leave the rest, which is the main teaching of the Gita as well. Yeah, I just say that I've been to some of the hospitals where this work is happening, and it is beyond inspiring to see all of these families who really, otherwise in India, you get bankrupted with things like this. I don't know if you know this, but in India has one of the highest rates of congenital heart disease. And this is perhaps attributed to the poor diet that women are given. So, and there are many people. I've actually have a family friend, very prominent lawyer, and his son was discovered in his 30s to have a hole in his heart. So there are many of us who are in India, we don't even know we have this heart problem, and it affects the quality of our life, it affects our energy level, it affects a lot of things, it makes us lethargic. And so this is incredibly common in India, and especially when the poor have this challenge. I mean, for them, they have to make a choice. Are we going to bankrupt our family in treating this child, or are we just going to let this child go and then, this poor child can't do anything? So this is amazing, this foundation and the work that they're doing. It is truly, we talk about love, this is love in action. This is a real miracle. And I would love for you to check out their website, and to the extent you can contribute, because this is really pure work. It's very beautiful work, and it is incredibly inspiring. I've been there. You literally cannot not have tears of inspiration and gratitude when you go there. You see these little kids, and you see the dedication with the nurses and the doctors and the parents are all there. It is like an ashram, actually, much more than a hospital. So please look out, check out them. I'm so happy to do this session for all of you. In fact, I feel blessed that I'm getting a chance to do something to contribute to this cause.
Once again, Nithya Shanti ji, for everything that you have done, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
All right, goodbye everybody. Lots of love.